What's up everyone, and welcome back to the MMA Buzz. Dana White has made a massive announcement that could completely change the way fans watch the UFC starting in 2026. Under a new deal with Paramount, the total annual cost to watch every single UFC event will be just $59.99. That price is significantly lower than the current cost of a single pay-per-view event on ESPN, which typically runs around $79.99. This new subscription model includes all numbered UFC pay-per-view events, every fight night card, new seasons of Dana White's Contender series, The Ultimate Fighter, and a growing archive of legendary UFC fights and programming from across the promotion's history. Compared to the old pay-per-view model, fans will now be able to access an entire year of UFC content for less than the price of one major event. It represents a major shift in accessibility and value for fight fans worldwide. The Paramount era is expected to launch in a big way. What was originally planned as Ilia Topuria's first title defense has reportedly changed, with Paddy Pimblett set to face Justin Gaethje for an interim title instead. That matchup alone has fans buzzing. But the new pricing structure has also sparked debate. Some fans are questioning whether this lower-cost model could lead to less stacked cards or fewer must-watch fights, since the UFC will no longer rely on individual pay-per-view sales. Former UFC champion Rampage Jackson recently addressed this concern on the Full Send podcast. When asked whether matchmaking might change under the new model, Rampage explained that it ultimately won't matter. According to him, the UFC has been promoted so well under Dana White that fans are going to watch regardless. He suggested that while the UFC might come out strong with a few blockbuster events to make a statement on Paramount, they don't actually need to. Fans are emotionally invested in their favorite fighters, and no matter how much people complain about matchmaking or title shots, they tune in every time. The UFC understands this, and that's exactly why the new era is positioned to succeed. But before we jump into the next story, we have a small favor to ask. If you're enjoying the content, please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell icon. It really helps us out and ensures you'll never miss an update. Move on to another news. Jorge Masvidal has issued a clear warning to Team Khabib regarding a potential fight between Islam Makhachev and former welterweight champion Kamaru Usman. According to Masvidal, Usman would represent the toughest challenge Islam could face at 170 pounds, to the point where he believes Makhachev should seriously reconsider taking the fight due to how dangerous Usman is. Masvidal explained that this matchup would be a massive step up in competition, especially when compared to someone like Jack Della Maddalena. While Della Maddalena is an elite striker, Masvidal pointed out that he lacks the wrestling credentials that Usman brings to the table. In contrast, Usman's background in grappling makes him uniquely equipped to challenge Makhachev in areas where few fighters can. Despite the risks, Team Khabib has reportedly shown strong interest in making the fight happen. However, the UFC appears to have other plans for Islam at the moment. Makhachev himself has repeatedly spoken about Usman, calling him his hardest possible matchup at welterweight and suggesting that the former champion could dominate rising contenders like Michael Morales or Carlos Prates with ease. Not everyone in the welterweight division agrees with the idea. Fighters such as Belal Muhammad and Sean Brady have argued that Usman should not be allowed to jump ahead of undefeated contenders like Ian Gary, Shavkat Rakhmonov, and others. They point to Usman's record of 1 win and 3 losses in his last 4 fights, despite his most recent victory over Joaquin Buckley in June 2025. Masvidal went on to explain why he believes Usman poses such a serious threat. He noted that Usman is capable of wrestling with Makhachev matching him physically, while also holding advantages in size, strength, reach, and experience. Masvidal praised Usman's ability to fight effectively on the feet while relying on strong defensive wrestling, citing his past performances against elite opponents. He also claimed that Usman arguably defeated the current middleweight champion on extremely short notice, further proving his toughness and adaptability. Ultimately, Masvidal believes this is the most dangerous fight Islam Makhachev could take. At 170 pounds, and one of the toughest challenges of his entire career. Whether the UFC decides to make the matchup remains uncertain, but the debate surrounding it continues to intensify. Move on to another news. Chael Sonnen has raised a serious concern regarding Ilia Topuria's lightweight title status, outlining why the UFC could eventually be forced to strip him of the championship if the current situation continues to drag on. According to Sonnen, the issue is not personal or performance-based, but rather about clarity and timing. Topuria has not clearly stated when he plans to return to competition, and when a reigning champion offers no concrete timeline, the UFC historically does not wait, especially in a stacked lightweight division filled with contenders eager for an undisputed title shot. At the same time, significant developments have unfolded outside the cage. Topuria's former partner, Georgina Bedell, has responded publicly for the first time through her legal representation. Spanish media outlets report that she has denied any extortion attempt and confirmed that there is an ongoing judicial process involving their young daughter. Her statement emphasized that the priority is reaching the best possible outcome for the child amid their separation, without making direct accusations against Topuria. While these matters continue, Topuria has remained largely silent in recent days, offering no new public response. Instead, he has been seen appearing relaxed and involved in a business venture alongside a Spanish influencer. With no confirmed return date, legal proceedings underway, and the lightweight division refusing to slow down, Sonnen's warning begins to sound increasingly realistic. The UFC has stripped champions in the past for far less uncertainty. Sonnen clarified that Topuria never explicitly asked to be stripped of the belt, but he has taken steps similar to champions like Khabib Nurmagomedov and Georges St-Pierre, who voluntarily vacated titles rather than hold up divisions. Topuria previously did this at featherweight, choosing not to continue cutting weight and allowing others to pursue their championship dreams. According to Sonnen, Topuria attempted to take a similar approach at lightweight, stating that announcements would be made and indicating that he was not returning soon. Crucially, Sonnen pointed out what Topuria has not said. He is not committed to returning later in the year or even sometime in 2026. He only stated that he would not be back in the first quarter. As time moves into subsequent quarters without clarity, Sonnen argues that the UFC may have no choice but to reclaim the belt to keep the division moving forward. Move on to another news. Islam Makhachev's next potential welterweight title defense may have taken an unexpected turn, as commentator John Anik recently shared insight that has shifted the conversation across the division. According to Anik, undefeated rising contender Michael Morales is now the frontrunner to face Makhachev next, surprising many. Fans who expected more established names such as Kamaru Usman, Carlos Prates, or Machado Garry to be prioritized. Anik explained that the UFC views Morales as a uniquely dangerous matchup for Makhachev. Morales is undefeated and coming off consecutive high-level victories over elite grapplers like Gilbert Burns and Sean Brady. That resume positions him as a legitimate anti-grappler, which is a key factor in how the promotion evaluates threats to a dominant wrestler like Makhachev. Unlike fighters who rely primarily on striking and struggle once taken down, Morales has consistently punished opponents who attempt to grapple with him. Beyond his technical ability, Morales brings size, explosiveness, and composure that the UFC finds compelling. He has yet to be visibly troubled inside the octagon, adding to the intrigue of the matchup. When combined with his physical attributes and versatility, the fight begins to look far more dangerous for Makhachev than many initially anticipated. Timing also plays a critical role, given Makhachev's Muslim faith and preference to compete before Ramadan, which begins around mid-February. This potential title defense is most likely being targeted for early 2026, possibly in February. That window aligns well with both fighters' availability and the UFC's scheduling consideration. Anik also noted how this situation impacts other contenders. For Machado Garry, seeing both Carlos Prates and Michael Morales gain momentum on major cards is far from ideal for his title aspirations. Morales, in particular, appears to have the inside track. Prates has reportedly expressed willingness to continue building his resume through knockout wins, while Morales capitalized on opportunity. During fight week, UFC officials acknowledged Morales versus Brady as an unofficial title eliminator, and Morales delivered decisively. With that performance, the Ecuadorian standout may have firmly positioned himself as the next challenger. While nothing is officially confirmed, all signs suggest that Michael Morales could soon find himself facing Islam Makhachev in one of the most intriguing welterweight matchups on the horizon. Move on to another news. Conor McGregor has reacted after Jake Paul revealed that he suffered a serious injury during a recent encounter with heavyweight boxing star Anthony Joshua. Jake Paul confirmed that Joshua broke his jaw, sharing an X-ray image on Instagram that showed the extent of the damage. In the post, Paul disclosed that his jaw was fractured in 2 places and paired the news with his usual bravado, jokingly calling for a fight with Canelo Alvarez within 10 days despite the injury. In his caption, Paul struck a sarcastic tone, acknowledging the severity of the situation while maintaining his trademark confidence. The post immediately sparked reactions across the combat sports world, with fans and fighters alike weighing in on the shocking revelation. Shortly afterward, Jake Paul provided an update following surgery. He announced that the procedure had gone well and thanked supporters for the overwhelming messages of encouragement. According to Paul, doctors installed 2 titanium plates on each side of his jaw to stabilize the fractures. He also revealed that several teeth were removed during the process and that he would be restricted to a liquid-only diet for the next 7 days as part of his recovery. The update highlighted just how serious the injury was, putting any immediate return to training or competition on hold. Despite the setback, Paul appeared optimistic and in good spirits, reassuring fans that he was focused on healing and moving forward. Among the many reactions was a brief but notable response from UFC superstar Conor McGregor. McGregor left a comment on Paul's post, simply writing, "Fair play. Well done." While short, the message caught attention given the long-standing tension and public exchanges between McGregor and Paul over the years. The interaction added another layer of intrigue to an already headline-grabbing situation, blending boxing, MMA, and celebrity crossover drama. As Paul begins his recovery, fans will be watching closely to see how the injury impacts his future plans and whether this moment fuels even more conversation between some of the biggest personalities in combat sport. Move on to another news. Anderson Silva delivered a strong performance last night, defeating Tyron Woodley via second-round TKO. The victory added another highlight to Silva's legendary combat sport career and reignited discussion around a familiar name, Jake Paul. Both Silva and Woodley have previously faced Paul in the boxing ring. Woodley suffered 2 losses to Paul, including a knockout in their rematch, while Silva lost a competitive bout by unanimous decision. During the post-fight press conference, Silva was asked about Jake Paul's recent performance against heavyweight boxing star Anthony Joshua, despite Paul being knocked out in that fight. Silva made it clear that he believes Paul deserves respect for stepping into such a high level. Matchup Silva explained that, in his view, Jake Paul has shown significant improvement over time and continues to evolve as a boxer. He emphasized that the responsibility in that matchup largely fell on Anthony Joshua, not Jake, given Joshua's experience and stature in the sport. Silva praised Paul for his willingness to take risks and challenge himself against elite competition. When asked directly if he had a message for Jake Paul, especially considering their shared history in the ring and Silva's professional relationship with Paul's company, Silva doubled down on his respect. He stated that Jake is doing an amazing job and has clearly grown as a fighter. Silva added that if Paul had more time to train and continue developing his skills, his performances could improve even further. Silva stressed that his comments were not motivated by business ties or past association, but by what he sees as genuine progress. According to the former UFC champion, every fighter who steps into this ring deserves respect, regardless of public opinion or criticism. He noted that boxing is unforgiving, and simply having the courage to compete at that level warrants recognition. Silva concluded by reiterating that Jake Paul's journey in boxing should be acknowledged for what it is, a steady climb marked by improvement, discipline, and a willingness to face tough challenges. Whether fans agree or not, Silva believes respect is owed to anyone who puts themselves on the line every time the bell rings. Move on to another news. Arman Tsarukyan has stirred controversy after taking shots at both Paddy Pimblett and Ilia Topuria in a series of mocking social media exchanges. The lightweight contender recently posted on Threads clearly aiming a jab at Pimblett by writing that he was living rent-free in Paddy's head. The comment immediately caught attention and sparked further interaction from fans. One user responded by asking Tsarukyan a pointed question, wanting to know who he believed was the easier matchup between Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje. Tsarukyan replied confidently that both would be manageable opponents, but went a step further by claiming that Pimblett would be another level of easy, a statement that quickly fueled debate among fans. As the conversation continued, another user chimed in, saying they would love to see Tsarukyan dominate Pimblett inside the octagon. Tsarukyan leaned into the hype, responding that such a fight would be pay-per-view worthy, reinforcing his belief that the matchup would draw major attention despite his confidence in the outcome. The exchange took another turn when a fan brought Ilia Topuria into the discussion, asking Tsarukyan for his thoughts on a potential matchup with the former featherweight champion. Rather than addressing Topuria's skills or fight credentials, Tsarukyan delivered a sharp personal jab. He replied by saying that Topuria was currently busy with his ex, a comment widely interpreted as a reference to Topuria's ongoing personal and legal situation. The remark immediately stood out, as it shifted the tone from competitive trash talk to personal mockery. Fans quickly reacted across social media, with some applauding Tsarukyan's boldness while others criticized him for crossing the line. With tensions already high in the lightweight division, Tsarukyan's comments only add fuel to the fire. His willingness to publicly mock multiple high-profile names suggests he is eager to stay at the center of the conversation and push himself closer to a major fight opportunity. Whether these exchanges lead to an actual matchup or remain online drama, they highlight the growing rivalries and personalities shaping the future of the division. Move on to another news. Paddy Pimblett has once again launched a fiery verbal attack on Arman Tsarukyan, this time during a recent interview with Sky Sports. When asked whether he was surprised that an interim title fight had been booked without Tsarukyan involved, Pimblett made it clear that he wasn't shocked at all and suggested that very few people are interested in seeing Tsarukyan compete at the highest level. Pimblett went on to outline what he believes are the reasons Tsarukyan has failed to earn a title opportunity. He pointed to multiple incidents that, in his view, damaged Tsarukyan's standing with the UFC. Pimblett referenced Tsarukyan pulling out of a fight on short notice, citing a back injury after missing weight, which nearly disrupted a main event. He also brought up an incident involving a physical altercation with a fan after a fight, suggesting it may have cost the promotion significant money. Continuing his criticism, Pimblett accused Tsarukyan of nearly derailing another major event by headbutting an opponent during weigh-ins before a fight in Qatar. According to Pimblett, these repeated controversies show a pattern of poor behavior and emotional immaturity. He claimed that Tsarukyan's problems are self-inflicted and argued that if he stopped acting entitled, he might find himself back in the UFC's good graces. Pimblett did not hold back on personal criticism, suggesting that Tsarukyan had been spoiled due to financial success and believed he could avoid consequences through money alone. He added that Tsarukyan was instructed to work his way back toward a title shot, but failed to do so by not defeating the opponents placed in front of him. Pimblett also pointed out the current state of the lightweight division, noting that Charles Oliveira is scheduled to fight Max Holloway, while he himself is set to face Justin Gaethje. With those matchups booked, Pimblett argued that Tsarukyan has been left without a clear path forward and may now be forced into rematches or lower-profile fights. He concluded by saying that Tsarukyan knows exactly why he is not fighting for the belt and should stop complaining about it. Pimblett added that, given his history of incidents, Tsarukyan is fortunate to still be on the UFC roster at all, let alone being considered for a title opportunity.